Thank you very much, everybody. I'd like to talk today about competition, and competition with a bit of a twist. Now, when I think about competition, I think about how it can be the catalyst to really drive improvement. It can be the catalyst that can purposefully make us better and lead us on to what we want to achieve. Now, competition with a twist, what I mean by that is I want to look at competition in two different ways. And those two ways are competition against something that doesn't know you're competing with it and doesn't have a mind. And level two, competing with something, again, that doesn't know you're competing with it, but does have a mind. But before I get to that, I want to talk about competition and why we need it, why we use it, how we've used it up until this point to get better at what we do. Now, when we're at school, we're in competition a lot with other students and with ourselves. And we get grades when we get an improvement, and we like the feedback that we get. You get a mark for how well you've done on something. You get a grade for effort, and it allows you to kind of have that moment of success. And that happens in every class, in every day. And then when we do well at something, when we improve in something, we're happy with it. We've got that endorphin rush and we want to get more of it. So we drive for that purposeful improvement again. And that allows us to get better and better and better. And then at some point, we start getting fewer opportunities for feedback. And when we get less feedback, when we get less competitive, we start settling a little bit more for mediocrity. We don't strive for that improvement as much as we did before. Now, what I want to look at today is how we can seek out opportunities to find that competitiveness. And my first one, level one, being competitive. And that is when, as I said, you're competing against something that doesn't know you're competing against it and it doesn't have a mind. And in my case, it's things like running for a train. Now, a train doesn't know you're competing against it. It's going to leave. It's going to leave when it wants to leave, when it's scheduled to leave. It's going to leave at 5:32. Brilliant. I could leave the office and give myself plenty of time to get there. Give myself 20 minutes, get there nice and comfortably, sit on the train for 5 minutes, get a seat, nice and relaxed. Not about that life. I want to be the person who ends up running past the guard and then walking back past the guard as the train sails off to the distance, knowing that I cut it so fine, it was down to win or loss against the train. I want to be able to get through the doors and sit down as the train's moving away. And because of that nature of my approach, it means I'm being effective with my time, I'm being efficient with my day, and I'm striving for that small win. How many people get on the train and high-five themselves because they've beaten the train? Brilliant. I love it. That's the mindset you want to have. That's the mindset that kind of drives you when you're trying to compete against something that doesn't know you're competing against it. And the biggest competition I had was against my watch. Bought a new Garmin. Got a new Garmin Phoenix 6X Solar, black sapphire glass. If I get lost on the moon or the bottom of the ocean, it tells me how to get home. But what it also had on it when I first got it was an auto target setter for my steps. Fine, bring it on. Day one, 6,412, not a problem. By lunchtime, I was 1-0 up against the watch. But it resets. So next day, because I exceeded it, I was like, all right, Keith, well done, 1-0 you. Next day, 6,874. Fine, not a problem, this is easy life. Got this, Keith, 2-0 up against the watch. Day 10, it's raised its game. I've done a few runs, so it thinks you can do the steps. Set your target, 14,109. All right, Garmin, well done you. You've set the bar, but I've still got this. I'm going to do a run at lunchtime. I'm going to make sure I walk home and don't get a scooter. I've got this in the bag. Day 33. Garmin sets the standard, 38,907. Behave yourself. So I was loving it, and every day I had a challenge. I was beating the watch, but eventually the watch won. So having got to the point where the Garmin now had one up on me, reset it back down, we just do a standard 20,000 a day. Some days the watch wins, some day I win. But every now and then when I'm walking home and it beeps to say I've done 20,000 steps, there's that little sense of achievement. And it's that mindset, it's that stupid mindset of competing against something that doesn't really know you're competing against it, and having that drive, that ambition to be better. Having that marker, finding that, seeking that opportunity to be competitive, to be and improve, makes you better at what you want to achieve. That takes me to level two. Level two competition. Again, we're not letting anyone know we're competing against it, but we're going to bring someone in who's got a mind now. And my first big loss of this was when I chose to compete against a friend of mine at how quickly he could get through his lunch. Now, we were on a training camp in Spain, and this guy, he had a phenomenal eating rate. And I thought, right, if I'm going to go against someone, I'm going to go against a champ. I'm going to go against this guy, because I cannot believe the speed in which he gets through a lunch. But he's not going to know that I'm competing against him. It's going to be a small win for me. It's going to enforce my mindset. It's going to give me that high five at the end. So I get behind him on cue, and I was hoping we weren't going to have anything that's going to be a choking hazard, because I was ready for this. I got my water ready. It was spaghetti bolognese. Brilliant. Game time. Sat down and I was waiting. I thought as soon as his fork touches, I'm going. He doesn't know it. Sitting opposite him, I'm going to race him to the end of the meal. And then bam, suddenly puts a guard on his food. Don't know what that does, but intimidated me. I'm like, what's he doing? He's a seasoned pro at this. He gets his head down low so that he can start getting reducing the time. And I'm like, wow, this is serious. Again, he doesn't know I'm competing against him. This is going to give me a win. That's it. I'm off. I copy him. It didn't know what he was doing. It looked like we were some sort of prison fight off or something. There we are, trying to muscle space on the table. So I start eating, and I get out to an early lead. Of course I would. He doesn't know. He's having a chat in between. No talking for me. Talking stopped. And I was game on to beat him. Well, 2/3 of the way through, I started slowing down. I started suffering, and he came through, took an easy win. And then I put my fork down, let him know, shook his hand. Didn't know why I was shaking his hand. Let him know in taking the win. And I didn't mind that loss, because I played a hand in the game. I tried, and I was doing all of this, and I picked these silly little competitions against my watch, against people, against the train, against the timetable, against National Rail, because these little things keep me on edge. They keep me driving for improvement, and it's that mindset that I then hope amplifies out to everything else that I do. If I then carry that mindset of being better, chipping it away, trying to find opportunities to improve, then I start to get success at 90 degrees from these silly challenges. This success starts to follow me, and I improve at everything I do because I have this mindset of this relentless, purposeful, competitive nature. Thanks very much, everyone.